but other like crackers and chips labeled non-GMO or partially produced with genetic engineering, like above. And that kind of brings up the curiosity of, do we really know what genetically modified foods are? In the last few years, I've heard a lot of terms being thrown around in the media, such as like organic, all natural, non-GMO, and I recently decided to read more about these terms to inform myself on the subject. The media portrays GMOs as unnatural, unhealthy, dangerous, and this is not necessarily always the case. Before making up your mind about GMOs and your opinion on GMOs, you should become more informed on what they actually are. And so today I would like to explain what GMOs are, their benefits, safety concerns, and how we'll bridge the knowledge gap between scientists and consumers. When a lot of people ask me how many different varieties my family farm grows, they're always shocked to hear when I say about like 45. For a lot of like non-agricultural people, they are unaware of like all the different varieties that are like grown for like fruits and vegetables. For example, a lot of potato varieties differ in their like texture, their skin and flesh colors and flavors, and like all the different like purposes that they're used for. And this brings up the question, like, how did so many varieties come about? And the answer is plant breeding. So Jane Brody compares traditional breeding methods to genetic modification methods in an article she wrote for the New York Times in 2015. She says that humans have been plant breeding for thousands of years for the purpose of producing a variety with the most desirable characteristics. This method can take years or even decades, and genetic engineering makes it possible to achieve the desired outcomes in only one generation, because you're only introducing one new trait or one new gene. What a lot of people don't know is that traditional methods such as like cross-pollination has been going on for thousands of years, and genetic modification is a more efficient and spread-up process of the traditional method. In an article written 4 years ago by Tom Price, he states that the World Health Organization, the American Medical Association, the U.S. National Academy of Sciences, and other respected organizations has examined genetically modified foods and have concluded that eating genetically modified plants are no riskier than eating plants bred with traditional farming technology. And despite this conclusion, genetically modified foods still have a bad reputation with consumers. In another article written by Jane Brody for the New York Times, she says that it's human nature, it seems, to resist change and fear the unknown. Jane Brody compares people's fears of genetically modified foods to the fears of like self-driving cars, because we're afraid of what we don't understand and don't know. So now I would like to explain to you some of the benefits of genetically modified foods. And these were all found in an article written by the Food Dialogue in an article called What Are the Benefits of GMOs? So the first one is that like less water and less pesticides can be used to like grow these foods, because like plants can be genetically modified to be drought resistant, or there's something called BT crops, which allows farmers to use fewer pesticides. And the next one is less food waste. So potatoes can be genetically modified to become like bruising resistant. So this really helps out in like the shipping and handling. So if they don't bruise, then you don't have to throw those like bad potatoes away. Or apples can be genetically modified to like be browning resistant. So this is really helpful in like the market and kitchen, because you don't have to throw away these bad apples. And then also for the last one, it can help enhance nutrition. For example, in the United States, we've made healthier soybeans. So they have, like, we've created soybeans to eliminate trans fat and increase the levels of omega-3. In summary, genetically modified foods can help farmers grow food in a more sustainable way by providing healthier and more plentiful food for people. And this is huge for developing countries faced with famine and malnutrition, because genetically modified foods can improve like a protein content of a food and the amount of like vitamins and minerals provided. So now I would like to talk to you about safety of genetically modified foods. So in order to establish the long-term safety of these foods, that would require like decades of just very expensive research comparing like hundreds of thousands of people who consume the GMO foods versus the people who don't consume like GMO foods. And a very interesting fact that I found when like researching the safety was that in one of Jane Brody's articles, although about 90% of scientists believe that GMOs are safe, only 1/3 of consumers share this belief. So in order to like bridge the gap between scientists and consumers, people need to become more informed on the topic. In an article called Social Learning Theory and the Public Perception of GMOs in 2016, they really encourage people to grow your own GMO food in your garden, in your house, so you have like first-hand experience like in a natural setting of how, like, what these foods look like. And maybe if people knew how difficult it was to grow like perfect plants without insect holes or blemished skins, they might understand and be more accepting of the varieties that are developed through genetic modification processes that withstand insects or drought. According to statistics from the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, in 2016, 815 million people around the world go to bed hungry every night. This is 11% of our global population, which is not okay. David Friedman, in a paper written in 2013, states that 70% more food needs to be produced by 2050 just to keep up with our population growth. With the global population exponentially increasing and farmland decreasing, we need to look into other agricultural methods and advancements to feed these people. Genetically modified crops can produce higher yields and grow in more extreme conditions, and the terms GMO and non-GMO is often used as an adjective in attempts to sell food to consumers, but there's so much more behind this term. I encourage you to become more educated on this term and use your knowledge to decide which food to buy next time you go to the grocery store.
Dana, how'd that go for you?
I think it went fine. It was kind of a hard topic to like speak extemporaneously about. Just it's so much like information, so I tried to like include my own personal experiences that were easier to talk about. But it's definitely a like very controversial topic. So.